Today's sponsor is Loot Crate. For less than $20 a month, Loot Crate gives the geek in you a special treat every month. Loot Crate's a subscription box service with $40 worth of geek, gamer, and pop culture gear, collectibles, apparel, comics, and more delivered to your mailbox every month. This month, they're bringing you a fight for the ages. Suit up, choose your allies, and enter the arena for combat. They're ready to stand their ground this month, and exclusive items from Blizzard, Fallout 4, Capcom, sponsor-worthy loot from the Hunger Games, as well as a few more items will help your winners emerge victorious in this box. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. So go to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 44 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys. Joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, man. Today's going to be a good one.
Is it?
Yeah. There's a lot of research put into this one. More so than normal, I would say.
You go to Wikipedia?
By that, I meant there's a lot of copy and pasting of articles that I'm going to have to read at some point. But there was a lot. There was a lot of facts and details that I didn't want to just kind of be like saying words and not really know what I'm talking about. Instead, I'm going to say someone else's words, and they definitely knew what they were talking about.
Gotcha.
So I'll sound a lot smarter.
Gotcha. Smart.
You know what I should do? I should just go back and just read all of Colin's articles. Just aloud. Then I'm just like, yeah.
Like, is it like old ones from IGN?
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell would anybody want to know about what's happened on the fucking... Here's what I've heard about the NGP. Like, no, nobody cares.
I don't care about the NGP. No one knows what it is. No one knows what it could be.
New game portable. Next generation portable.
New game portable.
Wow, you're really in disgrace.
You heard it here first. This is a show where every week we talk about video games and why we love video games and what's going on in video games and all that stuff. If you like it, you can go over to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Throw a few dollars our way, and that can get you the show early every week and get you exclusive episodes every month. That's pretty damn cool. I said this last week, and I'll say it again. The episode I did with Colin one-on-one, where I interview him about his gaming history, one of my favorite things we've done so far, so you should definitely check that out. If you don't want to give us money, that's cool. YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames. Every week you'll get this show, topic by topic, on the YouTubes until the last day. You'll get the full video, or you can go to iTunes.com/kindoffunny, get it in audio form so you can listen to it and let it just dance with your inner ear workings. And that'll be a fun thing to do.
And then maybe you'll hear Greg talk about the new game portable.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be good.
Yeah.
I prefer to just go back and read Colin's articles because they're factually correct. Yes.
Okay.
So what have you guys been playing?
I don't know what you call it.
It's the next generation portable.
That's what I said the second time, but I think New Game Portable is more what it's called.
Good.
Because then it's a combination of Batman, which debuted New Game Plus. You probably guys don't remember that when Batman
didn't debut New Game Plus.
Yeah, he did.
Batman himself invented New Game Plus.
Lucius Fox invented it.
What's the earliest game you remember New Game
Plus?
I
was about to say the first one I ever encountered it was Final Fantasy X-2. I know it was before that, but that was the first time I came across
Chrono
it.
Trigger was the first game I remember. I mean, in my mind that I remember having something called New Game Plus.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Zelda had,
well, Second Quest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember. I mean, I think in Chrono Trigger it is called New Game Plus, and I wonder if that's where. Could be wrong about that, but I think so. If I remember correctly.
Where the first people to
call
New Game
call
Plus
it New Game Plus. Yeah, that's an interesting little piece of.
What are some ones after that? What's put in between Final Fantasy X-2 and Chrono Trigger that have used New Game Plus?
And called it that?
Yeah.
Oh. In between 94 and 2003?
Yeah.
Shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let us know in the
I
comments.
have to think about it.
What was the first game that you had a New Game Plus in?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Just an interesting piece of trivia.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be Chrono
Trigger.
Trigger. Chrono Trigger couldn't have made it up, but that's definitely like the earliest one I remember.
I mean, it could have.
And yeah, the term. I'm not saying the idea of playing the game again, because like you said, The Legend of Zelda, the original one, had.
I mean, Mario
as a
that.
good example. Yeah. Legend of Zelda really is a New Game Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's really not. It's like a different game.
It's plus a new game.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what we're talking about. Okay.
What do you guys been playing?
Lots of stuff. Can't talk about a lot of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, end of the topic.
What have you been talking about that you can talk about?
Halo. Played Halo with Christine. And man, I'll tell you what, Tim. I know it's just not going to shock anybody on the internet. I just don't get Halo.
Really?
I've played every Halo co-op, and I've never had a great time.
Really?
Yep. I play them. They're fun enough. It's okay. I'm doing something together, but it's just like... and like this one, the story sounded cool, and I still think the story's cool. I'm like, Christine says we're 6 chapters in. She's like, we have to finish it. We're halfway through. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. But she says it is. She's looked at her cheapos, I guess. It just goes. It just does its thing.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good thing, though. It's fun.
Is it?
I think it's fun.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm a couple missions in. The problem I'm having is my Xbox is like flipping out. So,
Right, yeah, your controller keeps disconnecting.
Yeah, every couple minutes my controller will disconnect.
Yeah.
And it's the worst, but that didn't stop me from forcing myself.
Are you playing with other people?
We've been trading off a little bit just because it's the most annoying thing in the world. But no, I was just playing the single player thing.
Gotcha.
Trading off the single old school
I see what you're
co-op.
saying. I
Yes.
see what you're saying. So you do this level, I'll do that level. kind of
Which,
thing.
I mean, I want to be positive about this game, but that's the biggest negative I have to say about it is I can't believe there's not split screen.
No
that's,
local co-op.
That's Halo, man. And I get that, modern games and, things
Yeah,
change.
yeah.
We're
Also,
all-
it's hard.
power.
Also, it's hard to run it.
yeah, and I get all that, but it's like, that sucks because that's what I like the most about Halo, specifically the campaign. I like co-op, split screen, being in the same room with them, playing. And it's like, I enjoy it so much that I was like, all right, how do I get 2 Xboxes, 2 Halo 5s, and like, let's get 2 TVs in the same room, let's do it. But then it got to the point where I was like, I just don't have the time nowadays to like make that all happen.
To get another Xbox? You have 2 Xbox, I thought. Isn't there one kicking around your house still, or is it just the one?
Just the one. Yeah, that's what sucks. I sold the
Gotcha.
other one. so-
Gotcha. There you go.
Yeah. But I mean, even good. Just the setup of all of that. It's like back in the day when I had all the time in the world, it was like, yeah, this is awesome. Now it's like, all right, I have real things to do.
Sure.
Instead of, setting up a ridiculous gaming setup.
You
But
just get another TV, Tim. It's just a HDMI cord TV and the Xbox. It's set up pretty much.
I mean,
hard.
think of the cost of that, Greg. Think
Well, yeah,
of
the cost is
time
fine. That's
involved
a
and
fine. The time isn't a thing.
whatever.
Colin and I were watching football out there. I brought up that second screen. I was sitting out there playing games.
Yeah.
But yeah, Halo 5.
Yeah.
It just doesn't click for me. And I've always thought it was like, maybe it's just not this Halo. You know what I mean? But I think it's just the fact that since I didn't have an affinity for Halo 1 or 2, they were games that my friends were playing, but I wasn't playing, you know what I mean, alongside them or anything, but I knew how important they were kind of thing, that I just don't think I have that built in, here's the foundation of why I care about Halo. And since I don't have that, I play this game and I'm just like, all right, just run around shooting shit. Like, what's happening? All right, what's going on?
Halo's one of
Okay.
those things where the gameplay is just fun to me. I like it.
See, the gameplay's annoying to me. Hey, here's this gun I really like. Oh, out of ammo. Better pick up one of these fucking alien guns and shoot until I get back to the gun I like. Like, why can't I just run around with the gun I like all the time?
I don't know. I think that's part of the fun of it. And again, this is coming from someone that has enjoyed the past Halo games, so I like that it plays like a Halo game. So like,
See, and that's the thing.
like
I have I've played the past Halo games, but never enjoyed them really, right? So I don't have that. Like, I enjoyed this part of it. Now it's compounded by the fact of it's like I'm playing with Christine, who immediately jumps to Laura Bailey to play as her, or whatever. So I'm kicked into being Locke or whatever, and Locke has a shitty fucking gun too. And it's like it's Chief once in a while. He's got a good gun, but then inevitably now I got to pick up the fucking needle dick here and bing bing do this stupid thing.
But again, I think that's part of the design, and like whether or not you like that, that's up to you. But like for me, I like the weapon management kind of system. I mean, it's not like it's that deep of a thing, but just like understanding how much ammo you have and knowing like the power weapons versus just the alien weapons, which most of the time aren't as good, at least the ones you find in the campaign and stuff. So I've always enjoyed that. My biggest thing is in terms of the story so far, I'm not like in love with it.
Right.
I like that it's not the Cortana.
How far are you right now?
I think we did maybe 3 missions in. And it's just like I like that there's not the same old Cortana, like same old thing.
Sure.
But it is kind of weird that there's the teams you're with, but there's not really a backstory. Like unless you've read the books and like know the stuff, and like my friends that I'm sitting in the same room with, like they know. So they're like, oh, this is cool. But it's like I don't know that. So it's like the game kind of assumes that I know more than I do. And I think that's a problem. Otherwise, there's just 4 people on my team.
Right.
And the other thing is, at least in the single player, the AI of my teammates wasn't always great. Like I'd tell them to do things and then they wouldn't. But I think that's a case by case basis. But I'm having fun with the game and I think it's good. And I think that if the sales have anything to say about it, like people are super into it. Like we were seeing today that
It broke the record.
It broke the record, man. For
What's
Halo,
the record?
Halo
No one
sales.
really knows
No one
what
knows.
no one knows what the copies are, but like we know that it broke the record that they won't say.
Yeah, it's so annoying. They were like it grossed $400 million between the game and they insinuate that it also counts console
bundles, the
bundles
Halo
and stuff.
bundle.
Just wish just say how many copies the fucking game sold. Why does everyone do this?
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Dress it up. Dress up
Activision
your
does the
pig.
same shit with Destiny as Jason Schreier pointed out on Kotaku. Like every time they've never said how many copies the game sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched Greg play Halo 5 quite a bit, and I was a fan of Halo 1 and Halo 2, but I wasn't a fan of their story. Like I don't I liked the gameplay of those games. They were really unique and special at the time, especially I think. There just wasn't many games. There just weren't many competent, console shooters in the early 2000s. I mean, there just weren't. So, not like we have today. So. That's why I played those games. The story never really appealed to me. Halo to me always, and the reason I'm not engaged in it anymore, just from an outsider's point of view, is that it's a very sterile. It looks like a very sterile sci-fi universe in a way. Like I don't it just doesn't vibe with me. Like I was talking to when I watched Greg play for maybe an hour, and just so I can get a little taste of it. And I'm like, this is just I don't get it from an aesthetic point of view even. Like I don't get it. I don't get what this is like. What the necessarily the I understand why people like it. I understand people like the gameplay, the multiplayer. There's a lot of feelings, like nostalgic feelings. I'm like Greg. I played those games at the time, and back in the day, and so I get that in a sense. But they never made me want to go back and play more. And it's the same reason. It's the same way I feel about Killzone. Until Shadowfall came out, I really didn't like Killzone. I played all those Killzone games on PS3, or 2 of them on PS3, and then obviously the PS2 one was supposed to be like the Halo killer. And back in the day, clearly it wasn't. But I had the same. I had a similar yet different problem with those games, which was like, this is so gray and black and brown and fucking boring. Like, and with Halo, and I kind of grudgingly went through those games so I can like at least talk about them on Podcast Beyond back in the day. But with Halo, I see a sci-fi universe that I'm just like, this is just not that interesting to me. I like gritty, dirty, dark sci-fi like Battlestar Galactica or Mass Effect even, where it's like, the
worlds don't feel lived in. Everything feels like it's like a set piece, and it's just this thing that I'm running through to shoot things.
But that's just my perspective from an outsider. I did not play the game other than trying to use a vehicle really quick because I was laughing at Greg not being able to do it, and then I realized the controls was really bad.
Well, it's Halo, yeah.
But so take my opinions with a grain of salt. I mean, I'm sure the game plays fantastically.
See, I don't even think it does. Like, it's just I totally get to come at it as the guy who's just not Mr. Halo, right? I play him once every time they come out, and I'm done with them, right? But like, I was playing it, and the whole time I'm playing, I'm like, man, I should just go play Destiny. Like, I'd much rather play Destiny. Destiny, I like the guns better. I like that I have my own guns. I like the worlds better. I like the story better. I like the controls better. Like Alfredo, when I learned Titanfall, and he taught me, like, I was like, I want to be good at Titanfall because I like Titanfall. Teach me your ways, Alfredo Diaz. He sat me down and built me from the ground up. And he's like, here's bumper jumper. That's the one to use. And I'm like, great, thank you. The bumper jumper in here has no iron sights on the triggers. So if I want to use bumper jumper, I still have to click in the stick to go, or no, it's clicking the stick, I believe, to go iron sights and whatever. It's like, this is terrible. Or no, it isn't sticks. It's off a button or something or whatever. It's weird to get to iron sights in bumper jumper. So then I have to go back and not use bumper jumper. So then it's just, it doesn't feel right. Like none of the control schemes I like.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I guess it's one of those things. I grew up with the Halo. That is my dual stick first person shooter. Like kind of like everything else is based on how that feels to me. So it's like I play all these other games, and my biggest complaint is it doesn't feel like Halo. And in terms of the look and stuff, I love the look. I love the way that the enemies look compared to your characters. And in terms of the story, like I don't think anyone's claiming that the story is this like it's not Last of Us. It's not. I don't think people are playing it for the story in the same way that they say that about other games. For me, it's just
it seems like people play it for the story.
Like I like this. I like this story. I'm into it. I'm into the characters and the different like races of the characters and the classes and all this stuff, and like the war going on between like the elites and the jackals and all this stuff. Like it's all just the little details that as you play through the games you kind of just pick up on, and like the different looks between them all and all that. But I think it's just more of like it's a dumb action movie. It's like Fast and Furious. Like the plot of it, it's not like a revolutionary story. I still love the story. You know what I mean? Like it's fun. I like it. It's just action movie spectacle. And Halo to me has always kind of been that. And in terms of the levels not feeling lived in and just kind of being like environments for things to happen.
Sterile.
I like that. I like that it's very linear. It's designed like there's this course. That course is obviously to ride a warthog through. There's this jump. That is it's the point. Playing through when you play Super Metroid and there's the escape scene in the beginning. It's like that is designed that way. All the things that you face and stuff. That ship. Why would it be designed that way? It's designed that way just to make the escape fun. Yeah. And like in Halo, there's constantly those moments. It's constantly just, you need to get from here to here really fast in the Warthog. And then there's like all the things along the way that make that fun. And I've already seen that a couple times in the limited time I put in Halo 5. But.
Well, with this game in particular, I'm interested to see when games get really hyped up, it takes people a while to gain distance from them in order to like kind of critique them in different ways. Not necessarily. So it's not to say that the initial critique is wrong, because I think The Last of Us is one of those games that I really loved and thought it was a masterpiece. But a lot of people didn't, and they have valid critiques about the game that I think are more and more valid the more time we are distant from The Last of Us, and the more we see different things. And so I'm interested to see. There are 3 games come to mind that I think are going to differ in people's minds as we gain more distance from them, and one has already. BioShock Infinite's a great example of this. People were up that game's ass, and then it took a little while, and then people started to see like, I don't know about this game. Like, there's this is a great game, great story, it's fun, but there's this, and this wrong with it, and it took people a little bit of distance to figure that out. I think Metal Gear Solid 5 is going to be another one of those games. I've not played it, but I see more and more significant criticism of that game every day. That from people that I trust, and that people that have just gained distance and thought about it for a little while and been like, well, gameplay is excellent and impeccable, but what about this, and this? And so I'm interested to see with Halo, which I think is another one of those games, like what people think about it in a year. Is it going to be one of those games like the original BioShock that I think actually even gets better with age, and people have more and more positive things to say about it? Or is it going to be more like Uncharted 3, where people liked it, then they didn't, then they did, then they really don't? And like people, so I'm interested to see
I think
like
it's going to be one of those. It's definitely not going to be like a BioShock. It's another Halo. I mean, that's the thing.
Isn't it going to be Halo 4 or Halo 3?
Yep.
And when's the last time anybody thought about or talked about any of those games? There's Halo.
Yeah.
Halo 2 is the only Halo anybody ever talked about.
The thing that I acknowledge with Halo and just with some of these Xbox exclusives, not Gears or anything that I actually care about, but like Halo, some people take issue with the fact that I said I don't care about Halo last week and I didn't have anything to say. Like, I don't know what they want me to say, or do you want me to like pretend that I like it so we have a conversation about it? It's just not one of those things that grabs me. So I have to look around the landscape and find the people, whether it's Ryan McCaffrey, whether it's Mitch Dyer, like people that I know it.
Yep.
And see what they think about it. It's the same thing with Assassin's Creed. Like, I'm so jaded by Assassin's Creed that I just can't even trust my own judgment in a way on it. I need to go to the people that I trust, that I know this stuff. Like, they would come to me for the things that I know. So really well. So I'm just interested to see how it all pans out, because I think what I'm seeing in my own little social media bubble anecdotally about Halo 5 is that people are disappointed in it, but there's a lot of people that like it. People seem to be disappointed in the campaign. People seem to be disappointed in the campaign's length, which apparently is really short. I was reading something, I think Angry Joe or something, I think there was a NeoGaf thread about how he beat the game in 4 hours, which is, if that's true, completely inexcusable to make a campaign 4 hours long. It's the same fucking problem we have with the Order 1886, so we have to call, I mean, the Order 1886 didn't have anything else. People buy, so it's way worse with the Order 1886 being 5 or 6 hours when there's nothing else to do in the game.
That number doesn't sound wrong, right? Because Christine and I played it for one night, and she says we're halfway through. I'm like, really?
That's just bizarre. So I think
but that number it sounds a little, I mean, that's on the fast side. You know, I would say
me and her just savants at Halo. You know
I mean 5 to 6 hours even I think is too short for a campaign. I don't need games. We've talked about this in the past with The Witcher or whatever, where I think games can, like, there's a definition of a game being too long and too dense. And actually someone Keza McDonald, our friend, put up a piece today on Kotaku, I think, where she was like, I played The Witcher 3 for 6 months and I've gotten nowhere in it. I mean, this is my exact complaint about the game. So there's something to be said about games that are too big and too long. And I think The Witcher 3, too big.
Did you read her article?
No,
I saw the headline too.
I saw that
flagged for later. I was interested. Yeah. I'm interested to see if she's going to have a positive spin on it or a negative spin.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it depends on the density of the game, and like what, you know. This goes back to a conversation I was having with some of our friends on NeoGaf in our thread about PS I Love You, where I was talking about on PS I Love You how retail games I think will become cheaper once publishers are comfortable competing with each other on a digital marketplace. What happens when Ubisoft is like, all of our games are $50? And then do you think EA is going to stay at $60 or whatever? And the reason I bring that up is because, is it possible that a game like Witcher might be even worth more because it is so big? So it's a conversation for a different time, kind of an ancillary kind of conversation. Is it worth $100? You know? But with Halo, I'm interested. I have to trust other people because I'm not going to play it. I'm not interested in really playing it, but I'm very interested as a student of the industry, what it is and how it does. Because my prediction about it, even though we were talking to Aaron when he was on the show, and just kind of anecdotally, my feeling was like, I just don't see the hype about it. Now the numbers indicate that I was wrong. So I want to see how people really feel about it with a little bit of distance. And you know, that's what I'm super anxious about. It's the same thing with BioShock Infinite. It took time before I really got down to like hearing some good criticism about it. And I think Halo 5 is going to, for good or for bad. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to be, you know, all bad. I'm sure people can look back at Halo 5 in 2 years and be like, that was great. But it also seems like they're going to continue to churn these games out.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, the other thing about Halo is, like, to me, a 6-hour Halo campaign, that sounds perfect. I don't need more than that. And also, the game's designed around replayability and going back on Legendary and the skulls and all that stuff. So it's like, I think a very polished 6-hour experience would be better than an 8 or 10-hour experience that have the little things missing. The problem is a lot of people are saying that this isn't perfect, you know, but what game really is.
That's the other thing that these games... This is why 343 is in an impossible situation. They're in an impossible situation for two reasons. One is that they're not the people that gamers really want to make Halo. I mean, that's the first thing. Like, that's not their series, and I know they've been working on it for a while, but I think they're always going to be fighting against it. It's like the way people felt about Treyarch forever until they didn't with Call of Duty. Now everyone loves Treyarch, but everyone remembers when Modern Warfare came out, everyone fucking hated Treyarch.
WB Montreal with Batman. Anytime somebody steps into a franchise somebody's already done stuff with, it's no matter what. it's never going to be as good as the.
But I
people who
mean, I
innovated
think
it.
this one is different because there is a lot of key people, like the key people that worked on Halo are.
Sure,
working
I'm not
on
saying
this.
the reality on the ground
Yeah,
is true.
yeah.
I'm saying that they're going to always fight against this impression that this isn't there. So I think that they're always fighting against that trend. And I also think that when you have a central IP, Uncharted is going to suffer from the same thing, and Zelda is going to suffer from this on Nintendo side too. There's such significant expectations placed on these games that they almost can't be met ever. And what I've been finding with all of the games that I've been playing this year, up till I would say Mad Max, even in a sense, like so up until the September region, is that people think I'm jaded and I'm a little too hard on games, but I'm just finding that my mind is clear enough to see that a lot of these games are just not hitting the mark in some ways, that there's something off about a lot of different games. And I think that's just the nature of them. They're never going to please everyone. They can be fun, but we can still criticize them.
Yeah.
And I think that a game like Halo 5 has this crushing weight under it.
Yeah.
Especially
when we're critiquing the campaign and stuff, but I think that for a lot of people, specifically the ones that actually played it, Halo 4 is like their favorite campaign. Like you look back, like everyone has different favorite.
I thought everyone loved
campaigns.
Halo 2 the best.
But see, that's the thing. Did they? Because the campaign of that,
That's what I hear.
like Halo 2 is multiplayer, but the Halo 2 campaign story made no sense. They added
I vaguely remember.
I forgot what the character's name was, but like the weird ass
Master Chief.
not Master Chief. It was like the fucking thing with the tentacles and stuff. It was like,
Cortana.
what the fuck? Where's this even coming from? The Prophet storyline just was weird and not well fleshed out enough. They had the Arbiter, which at the time nobody fucking liked, and then it just ended. And one of the most upsetting cliffhangers. Not a great cliffhanger, upsetting. Like it was like, oh, that's the end of the game. What the hell? And so I don't know, man. Like I think that these games might even have a better campaign than those. Halo 1 had a great campaign, but had some really bad levels. Like the library was like a chore to get through. And especially when you're replaying it on Legendary, whether it's co-op or single player and doing all that. Like these games, I think they're more modern. They're more designed around different things.
Modern sensibilities.
Yeah. And so it's like, it's different, but you're right. I mean, they're never going to compare it campaign to campaign. It's campaign versus memories of campaign. Yeah. And that will always come out on top.
Nostalgia plays a factor. I like I said, I think last week or the week before, at some point, like Halo's fun. People love Halo. If I was Microsoft though, I would be focusing on trying to elevate something else, into that place. Sony's gonna have that problem after Uncharted's out. Like, what are they gonna do after Uncharted in terms of like what's the marquee? Probably Gran Turismo, but it's it's something like Gran Turismo, but that's not even really what they need. Maybe it's something like Horizon or whatever. I'm interested to see what kind of feedback they get on this game, what kind of metrics and heat mapping they find when people are playing the game, in terms of like what they're doing, what they're not doing, or whatever. Because and I'm interested also how the console sold. I'll be really interested to see the MPDs for October and November to see what shifted hardware and stuff like that. The thing that Halo 5 has to deal with, which is the same thing that a lot of other shooters have to deal with, is this idea of a ubiquitous platform, this idea of ubiquity in games. Halo 5 has to be something very special to keep people away from Call of Duty and to keep people away from Battlefront this fall. And this is only a problem on Xbox One. This isn't a problem on PlayStation 4 or PC. But there's a lot of competition. There's always been a lot of competition for all of these games, but I feel like the AAA tier $100 million plus shooter is like going to be a very competitive space this fall. And I'll be interested to see like how on Xbox One, how Halo stacks up against Battlefront and Call of Duty, because people seem to be really excited about this Black Ops 3 because now they love Treyarch apparently. I'll never forget 2008, 2009, how everyone hated Treyarch, and I was like, I thought I liked Treyarch, and they were like, oh, it's all about Infinity Ward. I just stopped paying attention to that chatter in that community, and then suddenly when I was predicting that Black Ops 3 was going to fall off, a lot of people think I'm wrong because it's a Treyarch game and it's going to do great. I'm like, really? I thought you hated Treyarch.
They proved themselves, Colin.
So it goes to show how I really don't pay attention to that community very much. Even though I play Call of Duty every year.
So this isn't a game, but another thing that in the video game world that happened this week was the Metroid, the Sky Calls short film.
Oh, the Jess Chobot film.
Yeah, so Jessica Chobot's in it. It's made by Rainfall Films, which are the same dudes that made the Zelda video for IGN.
April Fool's Day, the one that like started it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They made that, and they also last year made the Wonder Woman short.
Nice.
That got like 5 million views, 6 million views. I'm not sure. So this video came out kind of out of nowhere, and what's really cool about it to me is that at IGN, like we had talked to the guy that made this, Sam, many times about one of the April Fool's videos being a Metroid short film. And we've always kind of had an idea of like, how would you do that requires such a big budget and this and that, because it's different than Zelda. Zelda's like, all right, let's go out to a fucking green grass field and we'll be good. Metroid, what are you gonna do? Like even the suit alone's a pretty big investment. And to see him actually make this short, I'm like, it's awesome. It's awesome to see the growth of technology and just how things have happened, that he reached a point where he can make this happen. And he did it. And it's really cool. You guys should definitely check it out. It's called Metroid The Sky Calls, if you haven't already seen it. Did you guys watch it at all?
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And I like it because, you know, fan films are a dime a dozen these days. And like, especially with YouTube and like muzzle flare tutorials and all this shit, like anybody can make these things. This was the first one I've seen in a long time that I was like, oh shit. This actually kind of impresses me at any level. Like, this looks cool. It has a really nice alien feel to it. They had a lot of film grain, and like it was very.
It's claustrophobic. It's creepy. It's
very
got
artistic.
when they go in and get Jess's eyes in the Samus suit like Iron Man. That's really cool.
It's cool, and they did a really good job with it. The music was like on point. It was like It was Metroid when it needed to be, and it wasn't exactly Metroid at other times, which is good. They really kind of got a lot of the key Metroid stuff in there. They got the morph ball, they got the grappling beam and all that stuff. And it was cool. It was very nice. There was the Chozo, like the plot of the short made sense. It was contained. It has it feels good. You watch it, and when it finishes, you're like, oh, that was worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. You know, like,
but is anything perfect?
No, you know, but even more than that, I feel like people are being a little harsh on it just because it's like, oh, this isn't right or this isn't right. But it's like, this is the best Metroid fan film I think like I've ever seen.
Best piece of Metroid content in years.
Well, that's also true, you know, and it's really awesome. My biggest critique of it is the fact that like Samus isn't that scared, you know, like she seemed a little bit like, what's going on the whole time, where usually I would assume she's a little bit more of a badass.
Usually she talks like this. And then I saw the baby Metroid and I didn't know what to do.
And
remember that? Metroid the Other M. You remember this?
That's not the...
remember me?
Remember me? But I really like it. I definitely think you should check it out, if only to have your own criticisms of it and you know, see what you have to say about
Links
it.
in the description.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure.
That's where Kevin takes a note usually and then make sure you did it. Good job, Kev.
Anyway, shout out to Sam. I'm really happy you finally got to make this project happen. Other games I've been playing a lot of games a little bit at a time. So I put a couple hours into a couple games, learned that a couple games weren't for me, and learned that a couple are for me. Let's start with the Guitar Hero Live. We've talked about this before.
I've done that.
But we played a bit more over the last couple of weeks, and we haven't really talked about it. What are your thoughts?
I haven't played it more since the weekend I spent with it. I brought it at home. It came in on a Friday. I played it the Saturday and the Sunday of that weekend. Did a lot of the Guitar Hero TV stuff, which is I thought. Not that they undersold it, but they made such a big deal about you're playing in front of the live audience, right? That I wasn't paying attention. And then they're like, oh, there's GT TV. I'm like, all right, whatever the hell that is. I don't, you know what I mean? Whatever. And then to jump in and play it, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of awesome. Mm-hmm. And I saw people some of the reviews were harsh on it, like, oh, it's a microtransaction game. And it's like, for me, it wasn't, you know, for a weekend of play where I jumped in, you start earning credits like nobody's business. And then you go and pick the songs you want. And then you level up and then you get more credits. And I never spent any money to go play the songs I wanted to. They were just there. You know what I mean? But the idea of jumping in and there's just like an alt rock station that you jump in and you're in the middle of a song and you start playing or whatever, and then the next song comes up and you don't like that, you jump out, go to the next station and stuff like that. I thought it was a cool idea. It's different, right? The big thing about this Guitar Hero and why I played it longer than I played Rock Band was the fact that this is different. This isn't, oh, I'm just playing Rock Band again. Okay. That's all right. I'm relearning how to play. You know, it's these 6 buttons, you know, total 3 on top of 3, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that stuff. I'm doing the Guitar Hero TV stuff. I am playing the live shows, trying to elevate the band there and seeing what that looks like. There's a lot going on that made it feel, hey, this is something new to learn, and that's exciting. That's interesting.
My review of the game in one word is satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the game's very satisfying. It's what I was looking for from the revival of music games, where, it is relearning. It's recapturing that magic that I had so many years ago of, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, shit, now I know how to do it. Oh, shit, let's make this better.
Yep.
Let's keep doing this. And, like I was telling Colin last week on the Patreon exclusive episode, like, it gives me a sense of music discovery that I haven't had in music games for years.
Right.
Like, I'm hearing songs that I've never heard before that I'm like, I like this.
Yep.
Who is this artist? I want to know about this. And that's great. And it's also has a whole bunch of music that I actually like. The set list is good, especially when you add Guitar Hero TV. Like that, there's so much more to the set list than what's on the box. And it's weird. And what you're saying is right. Like, they didn't do a good job of explaining what Guitar Hero TV is.
Right. Because you don't own those songs. They're not included on the track list. So when we first got on Colin and Greg Live, I read the track list to Colin, and he's like, that's marginally better than what Rock Band's was, right? And I was like, yeah, I agree. And then I played some of those, and then you jump into Guitar Hero TV, and it's like, oh, here's Lit, and here's this, and all these things that weren't on the box that I liked. But then it was the same thing of like, I'm just going through, I'm like, I don't know any of these songs, but I'd stop and listen and be like, oh, this is alternative, this is pop, this is like something I would like, and maybe I know a little bit of it, but since I'm not trying to sing it or anything else, I'm just trying to play, yeah, why not? And I'll watch the video in the background and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like, it was a great distraction game. You know what I mean? The weekend it hit was perfect because we were in between getting whatever the next big thing was that I was super excited for. So it was like, I have time to kill. And I played it one night, and then the next night I finished Walking Dead. I was like, you know what? I could go for more songs. And I jumped on and did it again. Now, that said, games I've wanted have shown up since then, and I haven't played much of it at all, right? They're just there, and it's like, well, do I hold on to this guitar? Am I ever getting back to it, or what does it matter?
I've had 4 real experiences with the game.
Yeah.
3 of them have been absolutely awesome. I've had so much fun playing it. And one of the times I could not get the guitar to sync at all. And I spent maybe an hour and a half really trying to like keep syncing, keep playing. And I realized like it's not right. And that ruins it. Absolutely ruins it. And that's something that I've seen everyone that's played the new Guitar or Rock Band has dealt with.
Yep. No, and that's the thing is like, I think we talked about it just tangentially at the table, right? When we got Rock Band that first day, right? We set it up and it was totally fucked. And we were all done. And you were like, I wish we just plugged in where it was just done again. And this was the same thing where, like I played for a while and then it's like what you're saying of like, I'd finish a song and be like, I can do that better. I finally at the end there got the feeling for going up and down, going from black to white or whatever. I can do that. And go back and replay it. But then you get good enough to where it's like, well, this isn't perfect. And then you start tinkering and then it's 30 minutes of like, that's almost there, but not there. Wait, I got to wait for the ball to hit the cowbell. But when, again, moving this thing around, trying to fucking get it perfect. And it never is perfect, right?
Exactly. That's the problem. In none of my experiences did I feel like, yep, nailed it. I was always playing maybe like a microsecond off.
And then it gets in your head where you're like, I fucked that up, but did I fuck it up or is the game fucked up? And can I make it better? You know what I mean? Like da da da. And it's like, such a fucking headache to have to worry about.
And I never had that problem back with Guitar Hero 2 on the PS2.
Sure.
Like I was just like, I just need to play it. They're giving me the song, and if I get it wrong, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Other things, Mario Maker. Oh my god, I'm addicted to that game.
Still?
Yeah, I can't stop playing. I keep going back to it, and like we did a Let's Play yesterday. It's already live.
It'll be up.
Yeah, so check that out. We did the Nintendo World Championships levels. The reason I'm talking about this now is Nintendo today is doing the update for Mario Maker, which adds
the checkpoints
and the power up thing where if you're small Mario and you hit the power up, you get a mushroom. If you're big, you get the fire flower.
Nice.
That's fucking awesome. But even more than that, they're adding the what are they called? Event mode and official makers tab. So official makers tab is going to be Nintendo constantly updating Nintendo made levels, which I'm like, hell
that's
yes,
awesome.
That's fucking great. And event mode is like Nintendo World Championship style things where they already did it at PAX before, where there was like the contest to have levels or whatever, and then they put them out there for everyone to play. And there's a more focused idea behind it. I'm like, thank you for making this game that I love so much even better.
Yeah.
Like, man, Mario Maker, the more I play it, the more I'm like, I'm entirely in love with this
That's
game.
great.
So I'm very stoked about that. Others on the Nintendo front, Yokai Watch.
Oh,
the 3DS
yes,
game.
yes.
Played for about an hour. It's not for me, but I can understand who it's for. This is for the people.
What is this game?
So it's, to boil it down, it's the new Pokemon.
Okay.
It's like, it's a huge thing in Japan, like very, very, very big. And all the kids love it. And it's the new digital monster, like
Digimons, they call them.
yeah, they're Digimons. That type of thing. They're ghost creature things.
I like it so
there's
far.
Like this weird paranormal stuff going on. And then like there's one kid that sees them. Like he
Do
goes
I have a
into
trap? Do I have a
forest.
proton pack?
No proton pack. This kid goes and there's one of those like, like capsule machines where you put a quarter in and like things come out. Like you get that and like there's ghosts in that thing.
Which are huge in Japan, those machines.
Yeah. And
that's why they're in all the Yakuza.
It's very similar to Pokemon in a lot of ways. And it's an RPG and there's like the battle systems and stuff. I don't really like the battle system. It's a little bit more like there's a lot of tapping involved and it feels like in Pokemon, you're the Pokemon trainer fighting with the Pokemon, but you still kind of feel like you're in control of the Pokemon. Whereas this one, I don't know how to put it into words.
You let these ghosts out and they're just doing whatever the fuck they want.
It just feels a little bit more like you're managing ghosts as opposed to using the ghosts.
Okay.
Even though with Pokemon, you're the Pokemon trainer, there's a different feeling. Like
they're your slaves in Pokemon. These are sentient beings, dead grandfathers, children who were involved in bus crashes, and now you have their spirits and you have to make them fight.
I do want to give a shout out to my favorite one. His name is Cheek Squeak, and he looks like a butt. And if he blows on you, he makes you fart.
Cheek Squeak sounds like my boy.
So I'm really into that. But it's things like that that make me realize like this is not for me. Like Pokemon, I will always love Pokemon because I loved Pokemon and I've grown with that. And
Right.
so there's just that with me. I don't know that I could get into this game
Because of Cheek Squeak.
now because it's a kid game. Like it straight up is a kid game.
Gotcha.
Whereas Pokemon, I feel like I would argue it's like, oh, but adults can like it too.
Sure.
But it's like maybe I'm wrong about that.
No, Pokemon's a kid's game
Like,
too.
I don't even
It's
know.
just that I've called it, and I've called Pokemon this before, and it's not an insult to it, but it is baby's first role playing game, and that is what Pokemon is. So it's a great entryway and gateway drug for younger kids to get into statistical based games. But I agree with you. Pokemon can be enjoyed by adults. It is enjoyed by millions of adults around the world, including us, me until more recently, I guess. But it's a children's game.
Yeah.
So I wonder. Like I was when we were at IGN, I was talking a lot about watching Yokai Watch on the charts in Japan and being like, this is gonna be really big here. And it surprised me that it took so long to come here. But I'm interested to see how it resonates with Western audiences.
Yeah.
I know the review embargo was today as we're recording this, but I have not read any of them, so I don't know how it's
I haven't
doing.
either.
But that game fucking murdered in Japan. I mean, like it's hard to overestimate or overstate rather just how well that game did in Japan.
Yeah.
It killed for a long time.
Who'd it kill?
Going back to
are
Cheek
you?
Squeak.
No, not Cheek Squeak.
But going back to what I was saying about the kids game thing, whereas I feel Pokemon is a kids game that can be enjoyed by adults and stuff. Like it always kind of had it's just fun. The storyline's cool and there's all that. With this one, it does feel pretty dark for a kids game. Like
'Cause
with
all
the
the dead
ghosts
people?
and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah, like it does feel a little bit more advanced for kids, but it's not enough to make it like an adult thing.
It's a young
too.
adult. Well,
I
right?
don't even know. It's weird.
Well, that is what always struck me about literature. Just always young adult literature the last 20 years or so is like, this is pretty fucking dark. You know, like especially the Hunger Games, which is super fucking dark, or even something like Lois Lowry's The Giver or whatever. I'm like, this is a really dark theme for young adult.
I mean, even
books.
Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight. Well, Twilight's a timeless vampire story. So
Yeah, it is.
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
not made for
Not
children.
sure if it's young adult, but yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Anyway,
involves
I'll be
many
watching
young
this. I'll be
adults.
watching this game with
Yokai
intensity.
watching it?
Yeah, I'll be yokai watching it because it's 3DS is really slowing down a lot in the West in terms of sales, and I'm wondering it's at 52 million I think worldwide now, something like that, which is great. But I wonder if it's going to get one or two more pushes before they inevitably pull the plug on it, which I think the NX is going to be.
X going to give it to you.
If NX is a hybrid, then 3DS's days are numbered.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be interested to see like what are the games that can give it that one last push, and I wonder if this is going to be if this hits the way it hit in Japan. It's anywhere near where it hit in Japan. It's going to be a huge hit here too, because it sold millions and millions of copies. I mean, a demonstrable amount of the Japanese population has that game. There are 20. What is it? Something like 20% of the Japanese population has a 3DS. So I mean, that's an incredible. For that to be the case here, 3DS would need to sell would need to in just in the United States have pushed, like 67 million units. So that's an incredible amount of people that own a 3DS, and so. Here it's less so, and I'm interested to see like what games can possibly proliferate this unit even further because I think the 3DS is looking quite aged at this point.
Well, speaking of 3DS, the last game that I put some time into was Triforce Heroes.
Oh, how is
the
it?
Zelda game. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
I loved Four Swords Adventures back in the day, or Four Sword Adventures. Back when it first came out on GBA with the Link to the Past as like the thing that was impossible to play with your friends because it required way too much shit. Then I bought the GameCube version that was even more impossible to play because you needed way too much shit to play with your friends. But I made it happen, and I loved the shit out of it, and it was really fun. One of the first games that I ever played, definitely the first Nintendo game, that was kind of that co-op competitive multiplayer that now is everywhere in every game they ever make. But where you're working together, but it's also funny things happen when you work against each other, and you are trying to see who can get more rupees or whatever.
Who gets the crown?
Yes. So this one's been cool because I can just play it single player, which is something that you couldn't do on the GBA one. And on GameCube you could, but it wasn't whatever. This one, I played single player. I tried playing online a bit. It was lagging out and stuff. I'm like, it's not even worth it. I'm not even going to try. Then I played through a good amount of the game. And it's fun. I like it. The game changes based on if you're a single player or playing with other people. So like they changed some of the like puzzles and shit so that they're possible with one person. You kind of switch off between the different links. And it's cool. And I definitely think that, I mean, it's not Zelda. This is not a Zelda game. But once you kind of turn that off in your head and be like, this is a multiplayer Zelda game. Is it good on that sense? Yes, it definitely is. It's fun. It's great. I don't think it's like a 10 out of 10, but
Sure.
it's fun. It's a cool little diversion. It's a 3DS game. I love the hack and slash Zeldas, like Link to the Past, where you're like kind of just walking around like slashing shit. I like that we're getting more of that. It's really cool. I can imagine playing with 2 other people being really good. So yeah.
Okay. I'll allow it.
So next topic of the do one more for Colin.
Oh,
What
so
have you
we
been
don't- I mean, the only game that we can talk about that I've been playing is Oregon Trail on Vita. I was pretty harsh on it when I first started playing it because the controls are really fucking terrible. But I figured out a way to the shooting control specifically in the game. For people that don't know, Oregon Trail is an Oregon Oregon Trail,
Like your heart.
ORGAN. Oregon Trail is the game, but it's based on Oregon Trail, OERGON Trail, and it's about like riding in a station wagon across the country with survivors of a zombie apocalypse, and it's really fucking weird, but in a good way. The major problem I have with it is the shooting mechanics are just fucking whacked out. I don't understand how.
What does that mean?
I don't understand how they botched it so badly. You aim on the sticks, but you're not pointing in the direction you're shooting. It's like you're pulling back, and it's like it's just people play. I mean, it's bad. It's just bad, really bad. But someone pointed out to me you can use the screen to point, but even then you have to pull back and go in the opposite direction to like shoot at things. And this is during sequences. Think about in Oregon Trail, like the original one, how you would go and hunt animals. Well, in this one you have to like go and find things in a very similar screen, but zombies are coming at you, so you have to shoot them as like you're grabbing all this shit. So that really was.
So am I behind the guy and I'm pulling back to
right?
shoot?
So if I'm shooting in front of me, I have to pull back.
Okay.
So it's like a slingshot.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little weird in that sense, and it's a little off-putting because it's just not intuitive
Why would
at
you do
all.
it that way? Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's an interesting game. You can trade with people, and you have to kind of keep an eye on your car and keep an eye on the health of your people and feed yourself and have ammo and gas. So it's very similar kind of thing to Oregon Trail. And I've been playing it on Vita, so I recommend people maybe take a look at it. It might not be for everyone, but that's been the only game that I've been spending any amount of time with that I can talk about right now.
Cool. What are you guys playing? Let us know in the comments below. It'll be a grand old time.